Okay, fellas and ladies, whoever's watching. Okay, here we have my English percussion muzzleloading shotgun. What we're going to do is I've got time to fire a couple of rounds out of it. I'm running short on time, actually. I've got a doctor's appointment to head to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fire an 80 grain charge, and I'm also going to use an equal shot to equal powder load, which was traditional for the old hunters. You don't have to. I mean, you can weigh out an ounce of shot, or an ounce and a quarter of shot, or an ounce and a half of shot, whatever you're using. But just remember one thing about these guns: no steel shot in these barrels. The steel that we have is harder than the material that this barrel is made of. It's not recommended. It'll just destroy the gun. I mean, you can't buy this anymore. This is basically a hand-built piece. You might as well say it's one of a kind. I mean, if you can go on another gun shop and find a Hopkins muzzleloader identical to this, I'll buy it from you. These were all individually made, and I've never actually seen another Hopkins-made English shotgun, and I've searched all over the internet. Nobody could even tell me about the maker. They said that it was maybe a not-so-prolific maker. The only mark that's under this barrel that kind of confuses people, and it's marked BW&S, which would stand for the Birmingham barrel maker or gun maker, B. Woodward's and Son. They were right out of Birmingham, England. They were a fine maker. B. Woodward was actually one of these guys that worked for a very prolific maker and then went on his own and made fine guns. And this one here, the way it's fit together, everything just fits so. Like, you turn the screw perfectly straight, you look up on top, everything is just perfect. It lines up perfect, and that's typically how you can tell the gun's not been screwed with or messed with. But anyhow, let's get on to shooting. Like I said, my time, it's kind of getting a little short here. I'm at a public shooting range, so we only book for an hour or two at a time, and I've already done some shooting, so just thought I'd maybe treat you guys and show you guys the traditional sense of shooting. A lot of people don't do this anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 2F powder here, and I'm going to fill my measure. It's a little windy here, but you don't when you fill a black powder measure, you don't tap it. You just basically you put it level, and we're just going to dump that down one barrel. Now just remember, when you're loading a double barrel shotgun, if you got guys buzzing around you asking you a whole whack of questions, just tell them to hang off for a second until you at least get the thing loaded with powder. Because I saw a guy one time, and he had a replica Peter Zoli, and he was there loading, and he loaded 2 powder charges in one barrel, and loaded the other one with just one. And didn't hurt the gun any, but I'm going to tell you, he felt it. His shoulder really come back on him, and it was a little bit on the painful side. So just, if somebody's asking you a whole bunch of questions, just let the guy load his gun, refrain from questions or distracting him, prior to shooting. It's just a safe practice. Now what I'm going to do is I have wads here. These are fiber wads. I have various thicknesses. Like, I've got some here that are really thick. I got these at the gun show. A guy pretty much gave them me. I got them for $2. It was like a bag. There was 15 or 1600 of these things in there, made by a company called Judic. And they're just column fillers for shot shells, but they work great in the muzzleloader. These are from Circle Fly. They're like a soft, fibrous cushion wad. Also has some cork wads right here, like wine cork almost. And what we're going to do is I'm going to use a traditional load with fibered wad. If you want, these are also Federal shot cups made specifically for black powder shooting. They have got the little pinhole in the bottom, so when you push them down through the bore, that the air doesn't airlock them and you get a nice tight seal against your wad. One thing with black powder you want to make sure is that everything is packed tight in there. You don't want no air gaps. It's very dangerous to shoot black powder having an air gap, because it can cause a severe pressure spike, and well, you can have anything from ruptured barrel to just a bad shooting performance, and God knows what else. I'm safe with it. I do this, and I've been shooting this gun here now for about 10 years. And I haven't had any mishaps yet. You know, that's great. So I'm going to continue on with the loading here. And what I'm going to use, I have some stiffer. These are Winchester wads. These are for 12 gauge. Now you're going to say, well, you said it was 13 gauge and 14 gauge. And what we're believing the gun they did that for was the barrel was proofed at that. That might have been the earlier stages of how they choked guns, having one barrel with a small bore, tighter pattern, one bore with a bigger bore, more open pattern for incoming shooting and outgoing shooting. Generally, your first barrel shot is your right barrel, it's your front trigger. So that one there is actually the the more open barrel. It's the 14 gauge. The 13 gauge is the tighter barrel. It's my back trigger. It's on the left, so it's made for shooting out. I mean, but you can shoot it any which way you want. But traditionally, people pull first or front, back, not back front. I mean, I know guys that shoot back front, but I mean, you know, that's just the way they are and whatever. So we're going to get to loading this thing. So what you do now is you got your wads right here, and I remove my ramrod. And as you can see here, this is the original ramrod, and you're saying, why is he using the original ramrod? Well, it works good. That's why I use it. I could use a dowel, but there's the original patch or stuck ball or stuck wad remover. If you get like a dry fire or you forget to put something in there. And anyhow, here you take your wad. We're going to set it in the muzzle, and they just slide right in there like that. And I'm just going to ram it down. And I can hear the air coming out the nipple. So there you go. And nice solid, bottomed out. That's on that barrel. Now, this gun is not capped. There's no way it can discharge itself unless somebody took a lighter and went down that barrel and lit it up, or put a torch in the end of the muzzle, on the end of the breeches. So here we go. I'll put the 12 gauge wad in there, and we're gonna. And you can actually hear it's a nice tight fit. And I'll tell you another quick trick too. If you want to find out if you've got everything is seated correctly, it's bottomed out. Take your fingers, just grab it right here, pull it out, go in the next barrel, and look at that. I mean, it's right there. So that's an indicator you have everything bottomed out correctly. Now, I'm going to load this thing with lead shot. I got a bag of shot here. It's size number 2. I mean, it's big shot, but it was free. So we're going to take my measure here, and it's going to be hard for me to show you the loading of the shot here, but I'm just going to take my little scoop, and I'm going to fill my my powder measure, which I'll show you right here. You can see I got the lead filled right to the top. We're going to dump that down the first barrel, and then fill it up again. And you see I didn't overfill it, right to the top. And we're going to put it in the second barrel. So now we have that. Now, I don't have my card wads with me, but what you can do, if you're in a situation where you don't have your stiff card wads, you can take one of your fiber wads, and they break apart very easily like that. That's all it takes to hold a shot in. It's all it's for. So I mean, you can just, you know, you don't even have that. You can still use that big thick piece. It doesn't. I find it doesn't affect the patterning whatsoever. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to take the ramrod. I'm going to seat it right down top of that shot, and nice and solid. When you feel it firmly against the shot, it's in there. It's what you want. So here we go. There you go. I'm going to return the ramrod to its holder. Now, this gun technically is loaded, but it's charged, but it's not loaded until those percussion caps are on there. And I use CCI number 11 Magnum percussion caps. I find the Magnums give much better ignition, less chance of a hang fire. So now I'm going to just flip the camera like this here a little bit. Sorry for the wobbliness, but it is windy today. And hopefully you can see this. Now, when loading a double barrel muzzle loader, I'll put it's on half cock right there. You have to put it on full cock for the simple fact that you need the room to get the cap on. So then, with holding the hammer very tightly, depress your trigger and just let the hammer fall to the half cock position. There's no contact between this cap and the hammer. The sear is holding that up. And we're going to do the same on this barrel. You're going to hear the half click and the full click. Keep your fingers away from the trigger guard, to assure that you don't get an accidental discharge. I'm going to place the cap on there. Now, I'm letting this one rest on the cap. Reason being is when the gun is going to be fired, you're going to fire one barrel at a time. You don't want that cap flying off with the recoil. They do kick just as hard as a regular shotgun, there's no doubt. Just to be on the safe side, people say, well, that hammer could hit that cap. Well, I've never had it done with this gun. If you feel that it's not a safe practice, well, you can do it another way. But this is how I do it. And 10 years, I'm still here, still have all my fingers, the gun's still in one piece. So we're going to go ahead and shoot it. The gun technically is ready to shoot right now, but it's just going to shoot at I'm going to shoot at that clay pigeon on the ground over there. And hopefully you can see me. And here we are. This gun's ready to shoot, so we're going to fire. We're going to fire the right barrel first. Well, there you go. My clay target's gone. Okay. Well, how about if we fire a pattern test on that 35-yard target? Let's say if that was a pheasant in flight. Well, we're going to try this. This is the left barrel. This is the tighter bore for outgoing shooting. So let's see how it shoots. A lot of smoke. Now it's going to cock the hammers. I'm going to remove what's left of the percussion caps. A lot of guys don't do this, but I do. People say, oh, you're going to stir up ashes in the barrel, but if you watch on the bottom, I just put my hand over this and I go, and it basically keeps the fouling to a minimal. I'm going to let the gun sit down, and when I go back to load it again, there's going to be no risk of any embers in there. That if I dump fresh powder in there, that it could ignite or whatnot. So let's go have a look at that target. Now I just took an aim on it. I mean, just to get an idea. But I'll just spin you around. If you look on the ground next to my target, that's where my clay target was, and it's gone. So here we are. And here's your pattern. It's a pretty darn nice pattern for number 2 shot. Right around the whole target. Got about maybe a dozen in here in the middle and a lot of them outside. Now mind you, there was only about 50 pellets in that shot. And I would say, looking at it, there's got to be at least 40 on that target at 35 yards. So that's a pretty tight choke. It's a pretty tight pattern. And as I said, that was an 80 grain charge of Go X2F and an equal amount of shot. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to fire it one more time, but I'm going to use shot cups. I'm going to use fiber wad under a shot cup, and I'm going to up the charge to 90 grains, and I'm going to show you my hunting load. This is what I hunt with if I go hunting pheasants or rabbits or grouse. Just give me a moment here and I'll load it up and we'll get her shooting for you. Hope you enjoy.